I want to start off our unit on trigonometry with a brief overview or review of what you guys learned in grade 10 about trig. Remember, trigonometry is the study of a triangle, and we use it to calculate the length of unknown sides or angles in the triangle. So thinking way back to grades 6, 7, 8, we talked about how to label a triangle so that we can be clear about what we're talking about. The angles are always labeled using an uppercase letter, like this one's angle A, this one's angle B, this one's angle C. And when we label the opposite sides of the triangle, we label them with the same lowercase letter. So this side is opposite of angle B, so it is side lowercase b. Likewise, this side is opposite of angle A, so it's side lowercase a. And this side, of course, is opposite of C, so we would label it with a lowercase c. Sometimes you might see an angle referenced with a Greek letter. The most common one is theta. And theta would just reference the angle itself, so this measurement, whereas C talks about like everything to do with the corner of that triangle, the fact that it's a vertex, the fact that it has two arms. When we talk about trigonometry, we're talking about right angle triangles. So something with a right angle in it, you know that the longest side of a right angle triangle, of course, is the hypotenuse. But we want to be able to label the other two sides as well. To do that, we need to have an angle that we're giving reference to. So let's suppose that I use this angle as my reference angle. If that's my reference angle, then the side across from my reference angle, I normally label my opposite side. Okay, just think the word opposite is sometimes used to mean across from something. If you're talking about the house opposite of your house, that'd be the house across the street. And the side that is forming part of the reference angle, but it's not the hypotenuse, we call that the adjacent side. Adjacent means beside. So if you're talking about the house adjacent to your house, that's the house next door to you, your next door neighbor. Just like this side is right next door to the reference angle. If I changed my reference angle and I decided to use this angle as my reference, that would change which side is opposite and which side is adjacent. For this angle, this side would be opposite that angle, and this side would be adjacent that angle. In grade 10, we defined three primary trig ratios by saying, let's pick any two sides from the triangle. Let's suppose that I pick the opposite side and the hypotenuse. We'll call that comparison the sine of the angle. Let's suppose that I pick two different sides. What if I picked the adjacent side and the hypotenuse? Let's call that the cosine of the angle. And the only other way that I could pick two sides would be to pick the opposite and the adjacent. So what would happen if I divide the opposite side length by the adjacent side length? We're going to call that the tangent of the angle. For any triangle that has the same size angle, like any triangle with a 32-degree angle, you would find that if you divide the opposite side by the hypotenuse, you get the same number no matter how big the triangle is.